So let me give you the tour of Season 1 and where we're standing 6 days out. It's currently May 27th, so I have about 6 days before the second, which is when Season 2 launches. So I'm making a push for Season Rank 100 to get the last achievement that I need. I am currently at level 92 and a half. I currently am maxed on Silk, and I have finished the entire Battle Pass, so everything is claimed. All that is done. Then I want to go ahead and take a look at the Season 1 Vault, which is clocking in at like 600k, almost 575 and change, give or take, which is pretty good. Now this is like right after cryo. I did a couple rook runs last night, so I've got a couple, not so great items in here that I'm just going to use to go kill more AI, because killing AI is how I get my season rank. But in terms of total value, I mean, I got a ton of purple implants, right? Good guns, some gold mods sitting around, gold bags. Generally, decent loot, especially this end of season. I'm seeing a lot of these items just spawn around, and we're taking them off people. So I've got plenty to go around, lots of meds, way more blue meds than green meds, and probably for a good reason. But all things considered, 600k, give or take, is I think a pretty good starting point. Nowhere near the 10 million. I'm not like the richest person. I don't really care about farming up money and things like that. It's not my go-to way to play the game. I'm mostly about using what I have and getting my quests done or whatever objective I've set for myself done, rather than making straight profit. Now, I do want to go ahead and take a look at each of the factions. So we'll have a bit of a faction report card for how the factions are doing and where we are with them. Starting with Cyberacme, which is at max rank. We're in the VIPs. Everything's unlocked. One of the easiest ones to do that for, but everything's unlocked for Syac. No priority contracts, and we are max rank with them. NuCal's at 29, which is going to be, I think, VIP before I get to the end of the season. It's going to be very hard not to get to 400 XP to get to VIP. However, I am only at 27 out of 36 unlocks, mostly locked out by a lot of these gold and purple items. This one I just haven't picked up because I don't want to, but a lot of hazard capsules, a lot of BioLens seeds and neural installations I don't have. Plenty of those probably in cryo if I was playing more cryo, or if I had been spamming more outposts and actually farming those. But I didn't spend a lot of time farming mats, so I am definitely behind on those upgrades. So 27 out of 36 is not too bad. I got blue shields, I've got the blue meds with 15 per day, so it could be worse. Contract wise, I am in the middle of Paradigm Shift 3 out of 5, which I think is their second or third quest line. Partway through that, and going on to Traxus, we are 4 out of 5 on return on investment. I might try and finish this one. I think this is their first quest. I'm not totally sure. I don't remember if it is or not. We were at rank 27 out of 30, so very, very close. Mostly that's the carry event. Not a ton of contracts I've done with them. That's mostly just buying the carry event rank upgrades. But very far behind on upgrades. It took me until yesterday to literally get this enhanced bully because it wanted 23 rods, and the rods are only in maintenance or weapon lockers, and it took forever. So we're at 17 out of 28 unlocks for Traxus. Mida's in much the same boat at 13 out of 29, and Mida is mostly cut short by the surveillance lenses. I need a ton of surveillance lenses for like all these upgrades, and they are relatively hard to come by. They basically only spawn in quarantine unless you're in cryo and you're picking up all these in cryo. But when you're in cryo, you're really trying to grab high ticket items, not surveillance lenses, really, or in bioprinters. So very, very hard to come by. The turrets spawn them sometimes, but not often enough to be consistent. Contract wise, we're on Run Hide 3 out of 6, which I think is their second quest line. I'm going to try and finish up most of these quest lines that I'm on the halfway part. I want to try and finish those before the season actually ends. Arachne's VIP rank 5, which was one of my first factions that I rushed because they had the Waster, and now the Waster is dead, so rest in peace, I guess. Upgrades are sitting at 20 out of 28. I actually just did the upgrade to get the Rook shotgun, which is not compromised, and I thought it was going to be spawning compromised, and it's not anymore, or whatever they did broke that, but the shotgun's broken, so who cares? Most of my stats are here. The melee damage and the finisher siphon are high up there. Melee damage is my favorite upgrade, I think. So getting that was really cool. Revive speed's also a good one to pick up here. Hopefully we see some more priority contracts from them next season, because Charter was a bit underrepresented this season. Finally, SecGen, I have 17 out of 32 of the upgrades. rank 16. They're even behind Mida. It took so long to unlock them that I never really got into doing their quest line. And at level 10, you get all of basically the cores unlocked. And after that, it slows down substantially. So I wasn't really committing a lot of time to Sakaguchi, unfortunately. And I'm on Parasitism 4 out of 5. This is one that I think is definitely their first quest line, and I definitely want to get it done as soon as possible. Next up, let's talk Codex. So the Codex is basically all your triumphs and your random stuff that you do during the season. And I don't want to go into every single detail and talk about every single one that I did or didn't do. But general progress, right? 234 out of 455 is close to half, if not just a little bit over. I have 41 out of 106 career ones. 8 out of 11 season levels. I'll have 9 out of 11 when I get to level 100. And maybe even challenge? No. Yes, yeah. So I'll finish this when I get to 100. Ranked is 1 out of 30. I haven't played ranked very much. I don't really care. Feats of Mastery is at 11 out of 14. Titles are 21 out of 52. None of these are very far progressed. Then Loot is at 26 out of 29 for weapons. I am missing the M77 one, the Retaliator one, and the Burt one. Combat Utilities at 13 out of 14, and I am just missing the Energy Amp one. And acquired items are 12 out of 15, with a couple of the golds and the X-File, X-File Compiler Ganglion is not filled in because obviously I haven't gotten that. Looking at the world triumphs, I've got 11 out of 16 on Perimeter, 16 out of 19 on Dire Marsh, 12 out of 18 on Outpost, 12 out of 33 on Cryo, 17 out of 19 on Threats, and 13 out of 13 on Activities. Factions are at 10 out of 12 for Cyber. NuCal's at 14 out of 23, Traxus is 10 out of 22, Mida is 9 out of 24, Sakaguchi's 10 out of 19, and Arachne is 7 of 12. Then finally, runners, I have none for Vandal, 3 out of 9 for Triage, 3 out of 9 for Destroyer, 0 of 9 for Assassin, 9 of 9 for Thief, 3 of 9 for Recon, and 7 of 7 for Rook. If that doesn't tell you who my most played runners are, I'll tell you myself. My most played runners are Thief, who's been probably like 85% of my runs, Rook, who's probably like 10% of my runs, and then I've split it up between Destroyer and Triage and Assassin for probably the last 5%. For my stat upgrades for the season, I want to just pull up Rook here because Rook normally starts at 0, so you can see every single stat upgrade that I have, including max heat capacity, some agility, max loot speed, max melee damage, no prime recovery, no ping duration, but some tactical recovery, self-repair speed, finisher siphon, revive speed, hardware, firewall, fall resistance. So generally, a lot of upgrades, doing pretty good there. I do want to talk about my favorite weapons for the season, and this is not going to be like the best or the worst, right? It's just going to be my favorites. And some of my favorites are, number 1, the Circuit Breaker. I think is my favorite gun in the game, hands down. This is the charge up shotgun, and I think it does ridiculous damage. It's so good. And then I'm going to go ahead and say second favorite, probably the Strider. It's actually really cool. I haven't used the gold mod, but Jake has used it with us, and it's kind of a crazy gold mod. Not the most powerful, going to win you a fight on its own, but it gives you so much information that it makes winning fights a lot easier. So Strider, Circuit Breaker are top 2 for me, I think, this season. And then I have honorable mentions for my next 3, including Demolition Heavy Machine Gun. This thing is crazy, does a lot of damage. I personally am a big fan of the slow fire rate, high damage. I also have the long shot on here for obvious reasons. Semi-automatic sniper rifle is just very strong. Post nerf, haven't played with it a ton. The new recoil pattern and like longer time of spread means that the Outland's probably the better sniper, but there's just something about a semi-auto sniper that feels really good. Then finally, the SMG is going to be the Bully. Obviously, Bully goes really hard early season, very hard late season. Great range, incredible aim assist. I mean, it's one of the best guns in the game. And even after the nerf, it is still kicking, but it is up there as an honorable mention for me this season. And finally, I just want to talk about like what I really want to happen in the game. I want the time to kill to get better. I think the time to kill and the shields need a little bit of balancing. I would like to see stats for all my runs. Like I would like to see some KD, some survival rate, some most played map, time on each character, kills per weapon, and stuff like that. There's a lot of stats that I feel like we're missing that I would really like to see. And I'd like to see maybe Rook stats too for how many runs you live on Rook, how many Rook runs you did. All that jazz I think would be really cool to add to the game and add a lot to kind of talk about at the end of the season. And then finally, for a general wrap up of how good was season 1, what was season 1 like? and I'd have to give it a solid 7 out of 10. It wasn't the best season. It wasn't the most engaging. There were a lot of issues with map flow late game and progression things that I didn't like, and I wish there was better access to a lot of different items so there was more build crafting going on. We don't really have the opportunity to play with a bunch of different builds when we have such limited options to buy in the store. So there's plenty of room for the game to improve. However, that the base version of the game, the lowest point that it's probably ever going to be at being launched, it was definitely a fun time. I'm happy to have played the time that I've played. I've had a great time playing with everybody on stream, Jake, Boundless, Thomas, Ace, and everyone else in between who has been there on and off stream. Has been a great time, and I am thankful for getting the opportunity to play with everyone. Now it is sad that we're at the time where Destiny's been being brought offline, and hopefully going into season 2. Obviously, I haven't seen the patch notes yet or anything. I just have the cinematic reveal trailer to go off. But it looks like it's going to be a very interesting time. So maybe the shake up to the enemies will be enough to make it refreshing. And some of those PvE modes are maybe going to be really good and could bring a lot of life to the game. And every match could have more things going on. But we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell. For now, 7 out of 10 I think is a very solid place to be. Could be a lot worse. And I'm going to be playing further on, hoping to see it improve even more.